All right, I'm super excited about this. I've been wanting to do a little bit of a reaction video to Steve Jobs and his philosophies about hiring and how those helped him do amazing things at Apple by the people that he hired. So let's get started real quick.
The greatest people are self-managing. They don't need to be managed. If they know if once they know what to do, they'll go figure out how to do it. And they don't need to be managed at all. What they need is a common vision. And that's what leadership is. What leadership is having a vision, being able to articulate that so the people around you can understand it, and getting a consensus on a common vision. We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did.
I'm going to stop there real quick because he's absolutely right. The better people that you hire, the less specific work you will be needing to do in order to manage them, because they do manage themselves. I would also add that the other thing that a manager does is clear out obstacles, and he doesn't talk about that here, but certainly creating a vision for your team and for the organization. And man, if you don't have a president that creates a good vision for where that company is trying to go, it makes it really hard to get there. Let's go back to him.
But we're not necessarily those seasoned professionals, but who had on at the tips of their fingers and in their passion the latest understanding of where technology was and what we could do with that technology, and who wanted to bring that to lots of people. So the neatest thing that happens is when you get a core group of 10 great people, it becomes self-policing as to who they let into that group. So I consider the most important job of someone like myself is recruiting.
It's no doubt the most important thing that a manager does is hire and put the right people around them. And it's super also interesting what he was talking about with the self-policing aspect. I didn't really think of it in those terms. I thought of it more in the terms of, if you're a team that's doing really, really well, more people will want to join a team that's a winner. And he doesn't mention that, but I guarantee you there was a lot of people back in the day that were wanting to join his team because they were winners.
We agonized over hiring. We had interviews. You could go back and look at some of the interviews agendas. They would start at 9 or 10 in the morning and go through dinner. A new interviewee would talk to everybody in the building at least once, and maybe a couple times, and then come back for another round of interviews, and then we'd all get together and talk about it.
And then they could fill out an application.
No, they never filled out.
The most critical part of the interview, at least to my mind, was when we finally decided we liked them enough to show them the Macintosh prototype.
Show them the Macintosh. For those of you who are young, that's what they used to be called. Now we just call them an Apple. And crazy, these guys, you look at who they are, they're really the founders of Apple, and all of them, the three here that they're showing, were part of Steve Jobs' core team when they first got started. And I can't even imagine interviewing someone for 6 hours in a day and then going out to dinner and afterwards and continuing to talk to them. But that's how important Steve Jobs thought that hiring was. And so that's what they were doing.
And then we sat them down in front of it. And if they just kind of were bored or said, this is a nice computer, we didn't want it. We wanted their eyes to light up and them to get really excited. And then we knew they were one of us.
And everybody just wanted to work, not because it was work that had to be done, but it was because something that we really believed in that was just going to really make a difference. And that's what kept the whole thing going.
We all wanted exactly the same thing. And instead of spending our time arguing about what the computer should be, we all knew what the computer should be, and we just went and did it.
We went through that stage in Apple where we went out and we thought, oh, we're going to be a big company, let's hire professional management. We went out and hired a bunch of professional management. It didn't work at all. Most of them were bozos. They knew how to manage, but they didn't know how to do anything. And so if you're a great person, why do you want to work for somebody you can't learn anything from? And you know what's interesting? You know who the best managers are? They're the great individual contributors who never, ever want to be a manager, but decide they have to be a manager because no one else is going to be able to do as good a job as them. The greatest...
It's funny he would say that, because a lot of people say that's the exact same thing that makes a great politician is someone who doesn't want to be a politician, but feels that they have to do it because no one else is going to do it right. And I also think it's interesting what he said about managers, most of them being bozos. That's it's kind of strong words, but I think, boy, if you're interviewing as a manager and you don't know what your shtick is or your strength is that you're bringing to the table, man, it makes it rough to go into an interview as a manager. And for me, it's super simple. It's how do I hire great people, and how do I chip away at the things that would slow down the cogs of business. But there it is, Steve Jobs saying what he thinks is the most important aspect of a manager, and man, I can't disagree with him. That's great stuff.